Jazzcast Pros.
These are the steps that my brain tells me that I have to do in order to complete this task of making a cup of tea. So it's not just make a cup of tea. It's all of these steps. And what turns into one task really becomes a series of tasks that become overwhelming and overwhelmingly overwhelming. And so one of the tools that I've learned to implement is asking myself why and how. And it dawned on me that I talk about the tools a lot, but I don't really often give you the actual tools. And so today's episode is all about one of those tools. For me, the goal is to get it done. The goal is to have another win, to win as often as possible, because banking those wins, building up those wins, I know helps my depression. I started to feel better because I realized I did not have to do it in a way that someone else would deem acceptable. I just wanted it done. Welcome to Living the Front Seat Life podcast. I am your host, Kelly Marie, and it's a pleasure to be with you. I am recording from Buffalo, New York. Like, subscribe, share, follow, all of the things. Today's episode is a mental health life hack. You know, right now I am going through some things with my mental health and facing some challenges. Nothing that's insurmountable, but I wanted to update you and let you know about the tricks and tools and tips and things that I'm using to feel better.
If you've been thinking about starting a podcast and you want to include interviews with people across town, Riverside.fm offers unbelievable high-quality recordings regardless of your or your guest internet quality. And it also gives you separate audio and video tracks for each person speaking. It's high-tech, but easy to use. And unlike Zoom, you don't have to install anything on your computer, and your guests don't either. Riverside.fm is the leading platform to record studio-quality audio or video podcast. They even have a really cool video editor to help you make content for social media. Head over to riverside.fm and use promo code JazzyCast to get 60 free minutes of recording and 15% off a membership plan. The link is in the show notes. Now back to Living the Front Seat Life podcast on the Jazzcast Pros Network.
I want to start out by letting you know I do feel better. Still, having some issues, but overall, I am in a much better place. I watched a movie on Netflix called Stutz, Stutz. It's a biography directed by Jonah Hill. It is a biography of really his relationship with and the life of his psychiatrist and the bond that they've developed, but also why the psychiatrist does the things that he does do and why he functions and operates in the way that he does with his clients. And so one of the things that he talked about was the tools, that he always wants to make sure that his clients have tools. He always wants to make sure that his client has tools. And so it got me thinking, I do share some things with you, and I'm learning to share all the things. And this really gives me the opportunity to do that. And so one day recently, I was at home and in the bed, and I just realized that I needed to clean my room. And I say I just realized I needed to clean my room because I had this huge win. I had this huge burst of energy one day, and I utilized that to my advantage. I folded clothes, hung up clothes, washed clothes, changed sheets. I cleaned my room, and it helped me feel better because not only was it a win, but I was in clean space. I was in tidy space. And I know that being in a clean environment helps my brain process and do better. And so I did. I cleaned and I did feel better. A few days later, I realized that the stuff piles back up, man. It's not a one and done. And I had that epiphany, but I know that. But in this space, I did not. It was not something that even clicked or made sense for me to do, or even realize that I would have to do again. And that's okay. I'm saying it's okay because it is okay. But the more we repeat language that is helpful, that is positive, that is accepting, that, shows ourselves grace, the more our subconscious absorbs the words. They absorb the positivity. And so I'm being purposeful in the words that I'm using, not just now, but in my everyday conversations with myself and others. And so I came to this realization that I needed to clean my room yet again. I had clothes in my clothes bag that needed to be folded. And so I needed to get out of the bed to do that. When I'm feeling this way, tasks take more time. For example, to go make a cup of tea. If let's say I'm upstairs and I need to come downstairs and make a cup of tea, I would ordinarily just get up, go downstairs and make a cup of tea. But in this space, in this episode that I'm in, it requires me, and this is now I'm going to give you an example of how my brain kind of functions. It requires me to pull back the covers. Then I have to swing my legs over the side of the bed. Then I have to use my arms to push myself up so I could sit up. I need to put my feet on the floor. Then I need to stand up. Then I need to walk to the door, and I need to open the door. I need to walk down the hall. I need to go down the stairs. I need to walk from the stairs to the kitchen. I need to grab the coffee pot. I need to fill it up. These are the steps that my brain tells me that I have to do in order to complete this task of making a cup of tea. So it's not just make a cup of tea. It's all of these steps. And what turns into one task really becomes a series of tasks that become overwhelming and overwhelmingly overwhelming. And so one of the tools that I've learned to implement is asking myself why and how. And so in this case, I needed to clean my room, and I'm saying needed, but I wanted to. I did not want to be in a messy room, but the energy that it was going to take was beyond overwhelming. And so I implement my tool, my why and how tool.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Rob. Yes, I am the host of Father Torch. I would like to take this time to invite you in my discussions on very, very important topics of being a Black and brown father in today's society. Being a parent, the other parent, we face trials and tribulations too. We have worries, we have feelings. Here at Father Torch, we promote the advocacy of being the dad you wish you had. Join me at fathertorch.com.
So the first thing I wanted to do was fold the clothes. I didn't want them just in the bag. They're already wrinkled. I'm going to have to iron. I don't want to iron, but I've accepted, right, that the clothes have been sitting here long enough that they're going to need to be ironed. And that's all right. And so I start going through the steps. All right, you're going to have to fold pull the blanket back, move your legs over, push yourself up, put your feet on the floor, turn around, and get the bag and lift the bag up and empty out the clothes, separate the clothes, start folding the clothes. I'm going through all of the steps in my head, and it's too damn much.
If you've been thinking about starting a podcast and you want to include interviews with people across town, Riverside.fm offers unbelievable high-quality recordings regardless of your or your guest internet quality. And it also gives you separate audio and video tracks for each person speaking. And unlike Zoom, you don't have to install anything on your computer, and your guests don't either. Head over to Riverside.fm and use promo code JazzyCast to get 60 free minutes of recording and 15% off a membership plan.
So I stop and say, why and how? Why do you want to clean or fold up the clothes, Kelly? Is this something that needs to be done? No, it's not something that needs to be done, but it's something that I want to do. So that's cool. I've established that this is something I want to do. Okay, how? How are you going to get this thing done? I'm going to go through all these steps, the steps that I just mentioned to you, right? My answer to that is, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to go through all of those steps. So either I find another way to fold the clothes or the clothes don't get folded. So I decided to, while laying in bed, fold up my clothes. Before I started folding the clothes laying in bed, I actually asked myself, what makes you think you have to get up to fold the clothes? Why can't you just lay here and fold the clothes? The answer to myself is, well, that's lazy. Get up and fold the clothes. Who lays in bed and folds their clothes? Someone that needs to lay in bed and fold their clothes is truly the answer, right? And so I place this label of laziness on myself because that's generally accepted, right? You stand up while you fold the clothes, or maybe you're like sitting on the couch, but you're sitting up. You're not laying down in the bed under the covers, folding clothes. But why not? Who says, in what rule book is it written that you have to stand up and fold the clothes? Or that you have to fold the clothes in any sort of way? Or hell, that the clothes even need to be folded? So I had some thinking to do, right? And it didn't take me long, but using the tool, why and how, I wanted it done. Again, that was my why. The how was, you don't have to stand up to do it. And so I laid in my bed and folded my clothes. Because again, it's about the win. I mean, and who's here? Like, I don't have to prove myself to anybody in my house. But is the goal to make things more complicated, or is the goal to get it done? And in that space, for me, the goal is to get it done. The goal is to have another win, to win as often as possible, because banking those wins, building up those wins, I know helps my depression. And in folding the clothes, I started to feel better because I realized I did not have to do it in a way that someone else would deem acceptable. I just wanted it done. Part of the way through my clothes folding epiphany and win, it was getting a little more difficult, right? But I, because like the bigger stuff, I needed more space to be able to fold things up. I'm telling you, in the blink of an eye, I was standing up, folding my clothes. It didn't cross my mind that I had to do all of the steps. I kicked the covers back and got up and I kept folding the clothes. So not only was it a win, but it was a double win, not because I got up to fold the clothes, because I was, able to fold them laying down, but because I was able to push myself and challenge myself to do a little more. Everyone is not going to respond the same way. Everyone is not, going to take this life hack and be able to register a win, right? But what I want to do is just give you a way to think differently. Do you have to do the thing that way? Who says it has to be done that way? Now, if you're talking about something that's like a highly regulated or highly specific task, you work in a hospital and you need to clean the tools in that sterilizer thing. All right, well, okay, like that, you're not going to do from the bed, right? You're not going to just get up and throw them in the microwave like that. There's a process to get that done. But when it comes to regular everyday stuff, when it comes to lodging those wins, banking those wins, you get them how you need to get them. Another example, and I actually read this and helps me better understand how I can ask why and how and come up with an alternative way or path of least resistance to get things done, is washing the dishes. I know I talked about washing the dishes a little while ago, but I don't have a dishwasher. Like, I am the dishwasher. And so in this article, The person was having a, similar depressive episode, and they had not run the dishwasher until food was caked on the dishes. They were, piled up in the sink, and they were down on themselves because they had not washed the dishes. And they had this epiphany, which is where I get my why and how from, that they needed to just run the dishwasher. But similar in that process, their thinking was, when I run the dishwasher, the dishes aren't going to be clean because the food is caked on there. It's dry. They're not going to be clean. But their response to themselves, right, was, does it matter how many times you have to run the dishwasher if the goal is to have clean dishes? Now, was it an excessive use of water? Did they use extra soap? But that's not where I'm not debating that piece, right? Because the issue is, do you get the dishes clean? You either throw them out or you clean them. Like, what? It's going to be one of the two. And if you throw the dishes out, then you're creating more waste anyways. So sometimes we have to cut our losses and figure out our why and how. Allow that why and how to guide how we can do something in a way that may be unorthodox, or maybe, it's something that's frowned upon. But that's okay, because the goal is to get better. And when you're better, you'll do things better. When you're better, maybe you'll wash the dishes every day so that they don't become caked on. Maybe you'll stand up and fold the clothes and put them away and put them up on hangers. Maybe, right? But the whole thing is to get out of the episode. The whole purpose and point is to feel better. And so we have to prioritize the why and the how. Whose rules are we using to make these decisions? Because you can end up digging a deeper ditch by not getting the task done. And so, using the dishwashing example, you can let more dishes pile up. That's not going to help you feel better. Or you can let the clothes stay in the laundry bag. That's not going to help you clean your room. So I'm challenging you to start thinking about some whys and hows in your life. You don't have to be in a depressive episode or have a mental health challenge to start doing things differently. You can eliminate some stress from your life by thinking about your whys and your hows. How can you do fill in the blank with your thing better, differently for you to eliminate stress? We talked about stress, right? Like, if you don't address it, it's going to come out another way. So how can we figure out how to do a thing differently so that it gets done? Think about that. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know your life hacks around doing things better, doing things differently, doing things in a way that decreases your stress. I'd love to know how you're managing. If you are in crisis, please dial 988. If you are looking for resources, please dial 211 or go online and put 211 in your browser, and Google, Siri, or Alexa will take you to the 211 resource line. You can do a keyword search and find assistance for the areas in which you need assistance. So until the next time, I thank you for listening. Head over to your favorite podcasting platform, wherever you're listening to Living the Front Seat Life podcast right now, and like it, subscribe, share, follow, let someone know about the podcast so they too can begin living their very own front seat life.
Hey, if you like this episode, check out Getting Real with Bossy, where we chat about what it's like to be a woman business owner.
You'll hear interviews with women who are doing what it takes to succeed and the reality of what that looks like.
We cover all the topics, figuring out the rules and regulations, navigating business partnerships,
Even if that's your spouse, motherhood while running a business, working within your values.
and all the ups and downs of being the boss.
Are you ready to get real? Pop over to our podcast, Getting Real with Bossy.
Fantastic.